Super Troopers with the mayor standing in front of a few bricks of the hashish.
Alrighty.
It looks like Patty Mayo and the boys took some spoiled mayonnaise off the streets. My god, this next picture is just bricks and bricks of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. When Donut asks for shit, but all you can think of is his mustache. A salt folding table. We've all seen what those can do. I would normally put the clip right.
Whoops. Just ignore the fact that that was playing. Where is the... Okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with it later. So, we're back, and building the colorless deck once more. Now, here's the weird thing with this deck. We will almost never crewing a vehicle, but the abilities that come with vehicles are actually useful. So, like Shadowed Caravel, it gets a +1/+1 whenever it attacks. It's a 2/2 for 2 in this instance, so that's going in. Cold Steel Heart, it's a 2-mana rock. It could be better, but it enters tap. Calling Dice, it's a draw engine. Spatial Contortion, target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Great card. Shimmermere, just really good card. Sentinel Totem, eh. Sentinel Tower, meh. Mainly these are meh because of what they do. Exiling everything from the graveyard once is great, but consistent exile is better. Sentinel Tower, we don't have a reliable way of utilizing it because it has to happen on our turn. This is one of those cards that is great in 2-headed giant stuff. Soul Separator, you have to sacrifice and exile a creature from the graveyard. We're going to have enough recursion. Stonework Puma just doesn't. Sunset Pyramid, that scry is really powerful. Sword of the Moon. It can be a 4/4, and as long as the equipped creature is +2/+, or as long as the equipped creature is tapped creatures you control get +2/+0, and as long as the creature is untapped, you get +0/+2. Really good. Color reference, that's garbage. Basically, you can shut down a card that's going in. This requires having a human for it to be really good, so pulling that. Snare Tofter, Flying Haste 2, that's really good. This is where we start working on our flying. Equipped creature attacks, you may put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. We don't really have a way of utilizing that. Star Compass enters the battlefield tap and produces face on land. Short Sword, it's a 1-drop that gives a creature a 1/1. Eh. Sword of Feast and Famine, Sword of Light and Shadow, and Sword of Fire and Ice. These are cards that are going in almost no matter what. It'll be very, very rare that I don't utilize at least one of these in the game. And although their abilities might not be the greatest, it can still be pretty good. Sorry, I'm setting up my phone so that I don't miss messages. Again, requires a human, so meh. Requires a vampire, so meh. Bonded Construct, it's a 2/1 for 1. Can't attack alone, so meh. Brittle Effigy requires an exile. Again, we want to have things we can recur. We're going to be able to bring things back to the graveyard. Bonesaw. It's a 0-drop +1/+0. Meh. Doesn't do enough. Whenever a Ballistica Charger attacks, it deals 1 damage to target creature or player. This will almost always be a 5/5 unless we get a an artifact or a token engine. Bottle Gnomes, we're gonna have recursions, that's pretty good. Charge counter, Brain on the Jar. That's okay, but it's an instant or sorcery card, so meh. Blade of Cells, equip creature has Mirrored. That's really good, especially with some of the cards in the deck that I have plans for. Bobbling Cauldron, we will never get the best situation out of this because this requires a Festering Newt and a Witch for it to be truly effective. It's a 3-card combo, but we're going to have a 3-card combo, just not here. Basilisk Collar, Life Death Touch, that's always good. Boom Pile, although it can be good as a board wipe, it's so unreliable. Barricade Breaker attacks each turn if able. It has Improvise, so that's pretty good. It's 7/5. It's basically a way of stopping stalemates. I'm just gonna double check that. Basalt Monolith, we don't have a means of utilizing the untap combo that comes with this card. So, and a 3 mana for 3 mana, but requiring a tap. 2 basic land cards, no. Blackblade Reforged, although we might not get the greatest thing out of this, it is still good. Bone Horde, +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures cards in all graveyard. This is really powerful, especially when we can utilize it to its fullest. Blood Thou Candle, it's removal to a degree. Blinkmoth Nexus, or Blinkmoth Urn, we will get the most use out of this. It gives 1 mana for each artifact that they control. To all players, but we will get the most use out of it. Bloodforged Battle Axe. It's very rare that I cut a card because we don't have the combo piece, but Hammer of Nizan, I probably won't be including. I'm trying. Yeah, we'll go with it for now. When Beaumont Bazaar enters battle card, it's usually going to be a 4/4, so meh. Champion's Helm, that gets to equip to a legend and the Hexproof. Okie dokie. Chromaton, it's a 1-drop that you pay 1 to put more power into it. That's great. Crown of Doom, whenever a creature attacks you or planeswalker you control, it gets +2/+0. Pay 2, target player other than Crown of Doom's owner gains control of it. Activate this ability only during your turn. You need 5 mana for this to be good. Cathedon, again, Cathedonian. Okay. This is good but unreliable. Cauldron of Souls, we're going to be getting to the point that's a good thing. Crystalline Crawler, it's a mana ramp. Crystal Chimes, all enchantments. We're colorless, we don't have any enchantments. Chariot of Victory, it's an equipment that allows us to first strike, trample, and haste on whatever you want. It can also be a 3/3 if we really needed to. Crucible of Worlds, this is key to a good bit of our strategy. If it goes down, that's fine. We have other ways of getting it back. But generally, having Crucible of Worlds out is a really, really powerful thing. Carnage Altar, sacrifice a creature. Now, this is really fun because that means that for 4 mana, assuming we get the right cards out, Carnage Altar, pay 3, sacrifice a creature, draw a card. Okay, that makes sense. Normally, that's not too great, but when you're looking at cards that, when they go to the graveyard, they go back to your hand, like Spine of Ishah, and then when you play them, they destroy something again. It's really, really good, because then you can just be like, okay, I sacrificed this thing that you've been trying not to kill this entire time. Now it comes back to my hand. Crook of Condemnation, I thought I already... Aw, thanks, son. Alrighty. I am double checking that I don't have Crook of Condemnation already. I could have sworn that I had. Crawl Space is a really good defensive option. Consulate Dreadnought, this is a 7/11 that takes a crew of 6. It's really good, but it can 2-for-1 you if you're not careful, basically leaving you undefended. That is not being included because it's only a 1 cost. Cultivator's Caravan, it's generally going to be a 3/3 and it taps for a mana, so meh. Conqueror's Galleon, here's a weird one. So it's a 2/10, but it'll be a 4/4 when we actually accrue it. What it does is you can tap it to add a mana to your mana pool, or pay 2, tap it to draw a card, then discard a card, or pay 4, tap it to draw a card, or pay 6, tap it, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. That's really good. It just has to survive combat. So that's going in. Conjurer's Closet, at the beginning of your end step, you may exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. There's some really nasty combos with that. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has menace. It can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. Basically, force a multi-block, 2-for-1. Crystal Ball, it's scrying. That'll probably be one of the first cards that come out if we need, which we will. Coalition Relic, you can put a charge counter on it, and next turn you get 2 mana instead of 1. That's only okay. Coded Jewel, enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards, tap at the mana pool. But whenever 1 or more creatures an opponent controls attacks you and aren't blocked, that player draws 3 cards and gains control. Coveted Jewel, untap it. This is a horrible card. Commander Sphere. This is normally a really good card in a commander deck, but because we don't have a color identity, Cultist Staff, it's just a +2/+2 for 3. Not great. More token gen, so that's good. Consulate Skygate, it's a defender with reach. Lands you control have tap at 1 of any color mana. It's garbage. Cobbled Wings, it's flying. Again, more evasion. What in the actual fuck? Okay, hold on. I just messed up. The alert window is reversed. Let's reset transformation, put this in the middle. And then come back over here. X Fuzzy Chickens X. Well, thanks for the follow, man. Much appreciated. Sorry that your thing was, like, reversed. Target opponent exiles a card from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery card. You may cast that card without paying mana cost. Then put the exiled cards that weren't cast on the bottom of that library in a random order. This gives us access to instant or sorcery spells. That's really good. Consulate Turret. Energy counters. That's really good. We're going to have a lot. Each creature gets a +1/+1 for each other creature on the battlefield that shares at least one creature type with it. Most of my playgroup plays with tribal stuff, so this is a really bad card for them. Cage Sun requires a color. Cathra's Shield gives vigilance. Chalice of the Void is meh. It'll hurt us more than it'll hurt everyone else. Chief of the Foundry. Artifact creatures get +1/+1. That means we can turn our lands into creatures and have them survive, not going proof. Enjoying a touch of tea. Perpetual Timepiece. It's meh. It's recursion, but it's not what we're looking for. Pendulum of Patterns. Now here's a fun one. Pendulum of Patterns allows you to gain 3 life, and then for 5 tap and sack, draw a card. Not great. Pathway Arrows. It's good against other colorless decks, but that's pretty rare. Curse Strider and Peace Strider. They're 4-drop 3/3s that each do a thing. Oh, thanks. It's, Oh, bugger. Who is it? I remember this card. I have this card. It's one of the Theros gods. That's what I know. I think it's Farika, God of Affliction. Yes, it's Farika, God of Affliction. Pantivus kind of gets a little weird. If we can have it come out and then bounce it, yeah. Psychosis Crawler, it's good, but we'll see. Instant or sorcery spells, nope. Enter the battlefield, draw a card, pay 1 tap, no. Power Stone requires other Power Stones to be out. Palladium Mirror, it's basically Soul Ring on a stick, but for a lower cost. Pilgrim's Eye requires a basic land. Pyramid of the Pantheon, it's a great mana ramp, but could be worse. Psychos. Huh. I messed up and I didn't get all the Psychosis Crawlers out. Whoops. We do have plans for a very draw-heavy deck here, because it's one of the only ways to do it. Pay 1 to add mana. No. Creature type. Paretic Wanderer. It's 6 for a 5/5 with trample. That's pretty good. +2/+1. For 3. It's not great. Prize Fighter Construct. It's a 5-drop for a 6/2. Meh. It's a big creature, but we'll see. Prying Blade. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a colorless treasure token with tap, sacrifice this artifact, and 1 mana on any color to your mana. Does also give +1/+0, so that's great. Predator Flagship. With this and Mycosynth Lattice out on the field, we can kill any permanent. Anything. Because what happens is you turn, quick explanation. Mycosynth Lattice causes all permanents on the battlefield to be artifacts in addition to their other types. With Karn here, the commander for the deck, you can pay 1 and non-creature artifact becomes a creature. For 7 more mana, target creature gains flying until end of turn. That's the first 2. For 5 more and a tap, destroy target creature with flying. This can kill anything, assuming it's not indestructible. Planar Bridge, basically grab something from your deck and put it onto the battlefield. That's going in. Primal Play, it's a variable cost, or it's a variable creature, but it costs 4 and meh. Oh, did I not do the keys? Platinum Imperium, this can make it so that we don't die. Prototype Portal, this is a really good card, especially if you imprint like a Soul Ring or some other mana generator onto it. Pristine Talisman, for example, would be a really good thing to get onto Prototype Portal. Phyrexian Processor, you pay life and you get an XX minion. It's good, but there's too much burn in my playgroup, so I can't get away with it. Elaborate Fire Cannon doesn't untap. Beginning of your upkeep, you may discard a card, but that's only for 4 to have the ability to pay for 4 and a tap and deal 2 damage. That's not great. Eye of Doom, everyone picks a permanent that they control. You would want to pick Eye of Doom with this so that it sacrifices itself, but we have other ways of doing that. Green spells you cast cost 1 less. We're not casting anything green, we're casting colorless, so that's garbage. Eager Constructs allows us to scry, and it's 2/2 for 2. Electrostatic Pummeler gets us 3 energy and XX until end of turn, where X is its power. If you have a ton of energy, this thing gets really stupid really quick. Because if you pay that cost 5 times, so 15 energy, which throughout the deck there's enough energy generation to make that possible. The first one gets you 2. The second one gets you 4. The third one gets you 8. The fourth one gets you 16. And the fifth one gets you 32. It gets stupid real quick. Now, we got Bendhorn Bow. Target creature gains first strike until end of turn. That's really good. Sunburst. This requires we have multiple colored mana. Imperial Plate. 1/1 for each card in your hand. Really good. Generally, we're going to have a pretty full hand. Building a modern... Well, you have Path to Exile, you have Swords to Plowshares, you have Provoke Existence. Provoke Existence is one of those weird ones that, Oh no, Provoke Existence is enchantments or artifacts. Path to Exile is another one, but it costs 7. And so you won't... Oh, no, Path to Exile is the one I'm thinking of. And that came out recently enough that it shouldn't cost too much. I mean, it came out in Ixalan, so... Oh, it is pricey as fuck. Huh. Swords to Plowshares is the only other one, but you're looking at, I think, a steeper price tag for that. If I'm to be honest. Nope. Swords to Plowshares is your best bet because it does cost a little bit more. I think I messed up a little bit. Nope, okay. Swords to Plowshares, exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. You're running white, you shouldn't have much issue with killing off someone who's gained a little bit of life. Executioner Hood, Intimidate. Basically, the only thing that can block with is artifact creatures. Activate abilities of creature cards in your graveyard cost 1 less to activate. This requires zombies, and we're not going to be using it. Explorer's Scope, land, that's good. Epitaph Golem. This is one of those recursion cards that we're going to have. It's good. Draw a card, only activate this ability if you control 3 or more lands with the same name. We have no duplicate lands. With 3 1/1 counters on it if you didn't cast it. When it dies, exile it with 3 time counters. This does allow counterplay, but it's also a good recursion card. Because even if it dies, it comes back in 3 turns. Explosive Apparatus. Pay 2 to tap and sacrifice it to do 2 damage to any target. Meh. I'm not going for a very burn-heavy deck. I'm going for an Outlast deck. Everflowing Chalice is going in. Edifice of Authority allows us to make a creature not able to attack. Hexplate Golem, it's a 5/7, but doesn't do anything, so meh. Heliophile requires colored mana. Whenever a creature becomes blocked by 1 or more colorless creatures, it gains Death Touch until end of turn. Meh, we don't want that stolen either. I mean, there is Scour from Existence, I think. But that's a 7-drop, and it's exile target permanent. So it can hit literally anything, but at the same time, it's 7, and you're playing white. You're probably going to be wanting to ramp out pretty early. It's also not that cheap. Oh, never mind. If you really wanted to spend 7 mana to exile something you really need to get rid of, it's like 50 cents. Heirloom Blade. Reveal a creature card that shares a creature type with it. Put that card into your hand, then the rest on the bottom. Meh. Howling Golem. Draw Engine. Yes, I don't care if it allows everyone else to draw. Still get draw as well. Whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield, equip it. Meh. It's a 3/2 that costs 4 to equip. Honed Khopesh. Meh. At the beginning of each player's draw step, if Howling Mind is untapped, that player draws an additional card. We actually have ways of tapping that, so that's not too bad. We basically turn it into a creature, swing it at the person we know can either jump block it without killing it, or will refuse to block. And then it's tapped, and we don't have to worry about anyone else getting it. Heavy Arbalist, meh, it taps. Let's have it in. Planeswalkers, etc. I am kind of working on this. Fiend Hunter? Oh, that would be a good option. He's a little underpowered, but if you're going with, like, tribal humans, then it's a good card. I'm honestly not really sure what else you could use. You could use some of the enchantments that exile something when they enter the battlefield, and then that when they leave, they bring it back, but those are prone to removal. Hammer of Nizan is going in. Ezeret's Monument. Alright. I'm partially trying to get this done within the next hour, but it's probably not going to happen. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm trying to get better about my knowledge of the game, and part of that is actually knowing the cards. And I think at this point, my biggest issue is I don't remember the names, but I remember a lot of the effects of the cards. So, yeah. There's one that came out recently in... Oh, bugger. I think it's Guilds of Ravnica. Color the Culprits, I think, is the one I'm thinking of. But... Color the Culprit. Destroy target creature with toughness 4 or greater. It's not great, but... If you're really looking for stuff, that's one of them. Hierophant's Chalice, it's a mana and life loss, so that's good. Hedron Archive, it's 2 mana for 4. We can turn it into a 4/4, so that's not too bad, but there's a better option. Hedron Crawler, it's a 2-cost 0/1 that taps new. Wants Cloak, 3-drop, Vigilance, Trample, Haste. Yes. Herald's Horn, you have to pick a creature type. Creatures of that type cost 1 less. Now, here's where it gets fun. We have to decide whether or not we are going to have enough creatures that share creature types to make that worth it. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to guess no, because most of our stuff is stuff that's Construct, Golem, or Mirror. And although Construct, actually, it's almost worth it to throw it in there. Because we have enough Constructs. But at the same time, it's Constructs, Golems, or Mirrors. And really, it's only great in a very focused deck. So, that's not an option. Herald's Horn, you get the boot. Helm of the Host. This is key to like 70% of my strategies nowadays. At the beginning of combat on your turn, create a token that's a copy of an equipped creature, except the token isn't legendary. If equipped creature is legendary, that token gains haste. It doesn't leave, it doesn't go anywhere, it just gives you a token copy. Now here's a really fun thing. You equip it to you turn Soul Ring into a creature. You equip Soul Ring with this, you get a copy of Soul Ring. Pure and simple. It's frickin' awesome. Hollow Vault, exile target creature you control, exile target creature you don't control. When Hollow Vault is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return all cards exiled with it to the battlefield under their owner's control. Really good. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield, if Genesis Chamber is untapped, that creature's controller creates a 1/1 colorless mirror creature token. Again, we have ways of tapping that, so that's not bad. Gargoyle Sentinel, pay 3 until end of turn. Gargoyle Sentinel loses Defender and gains flying. That's garbage. Creature cards can't enter the battlefield from the graveyard or libraries. Players can't cast cards or in graveyards or libraries. That's okay, but it kind of doesn't shut down enough things. When Guardians of Koilos enters the battlefield, you may return another target historic card you control to its owner's hand. That's really good. That's really good. That can allow us to recur things. Like Mirror Battlesphere, for instance. Graven Abomination, exile target card from defending player's graveyard. That's only okay. It's a 3/1, but we don't really need to worry about that. Tap 3 untapped humans. We don't have humans. Grifter's Blade. It's a 1 that gets equipped for a 1/1. Yeah, but it also costs 3. That's fair. You have a good one, man. Hopefully you can figure out some more removal cards. Thanks for stopping by. Get to the Afterlife. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, you gain 1 life, then you may draw a card to discard a card. But second ability is garbage. Guardian Idol. Pay 2, becomes a 2/2 column artifact creature token, enters battlefield tap, though doesn't matter. Goldforge Sentinel. That's a 4/4 for 6 with flying. Hero 4 Ori allows us to play more land. That's great. Galvanic Juggernaut attacks each turn, doesn't untap. Whenever another creature dies, untap it. That's creature spells you cast cost 1 more to cast. No. Deersmith Guardian requires blue. Glaive of Guildpact requires gates, which we don't have. Guardian Automaton 4, that when it dies you gain 3 life. That's pretty good. A 0/6 for 3 defender. That's meh. Geode Golem. Whenever Geode Golem deals combat damage to a player, you may cast your commander from the command zone without paying its mana cost. You still pay any additional costs. So, commander tax still applies. Gilded Sentinel. It's a 3/3 vanilla creature that's bleh. Gleaming Barrier dies, created artifact token. We're going to have enough recursion to make that work. Goblin Charbelcher, really only good in a red deck. Gilded Lotus, that's 3 mana. Golden Guardian, and that's more tokens and more creatures. Grappling Hook allows us to pick and choose our blockers. Gruesome Slaughter allows us to turn all of our creatures into, or all of our artifacts into creatures, then have them all basically wipe the board. Deserter's Quarters. Meh. It's a 2-drop that you pay 6 to tap a creature and it doesn't untap. It'll go in for now. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield, yeah, garbage. Whenever one or more creature cards leave your graveyard, garbage. Darksteel Axe, it's a 2 cost equipped for a 2/0 boost. It's also indestructible, so meh. We can use that for the indestructible and just have it a 1/1. That's basically, we can swing in recklessly with it, but at the same time, Diamond Mare requires a color. Deadlock Trap. Tap target creature or planeswalker. Its activated abilities can't be activated this turn. We're going to have enough energy to make that work. A 5-drop Dusk Legion Dreadnought. That's a 4/6 when crewed, but it'll be a 5/5 for the most part. Decoction Module. Okay, I'm pulling that out to the side because there is a combo that I really want to exemplify. Darksteel Axe. I did not sort these properly. Darksteel Forge makes our artifacts indestructible. 10/7 crew for 5. Meh. Dragon. Meh. Dousing Dagger requires what? Deals combat damage. Dampening Sphere. Each spell, no. Activated abilities of artifacts, creatures, no. Door of Destinies, choose a creature type, no. Darksteel Juggernaut, yes. It gets more powerful the more things we play. And then at the end of combat, if Daredevil Dreadster is attacked or blocked this turn, put a velocity counters are garbage. Okay. Now, I'm going to see if I already pulled out one of these. There is 3 modules that came out with Kaladesh. These modules create a devastating little shot or machine gun that, if done right, can lead to some hilarious results. And I was worried I didn't have all 3. But while I was going through sorting all of these out and getting ready to do the stream the other day, I realized quite quickly I have all 3. In fact, I may have already pulled all 3 out. Nope. Okay. So the rest of them are over here. Alright. Now we're just gonna toss these in the box over here to clear up some space. Alright. Now, Darksteel Ingot, it's mana. Darksteel Plate, oh yes. Reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put a 1/1 green sapling creature token on the battlefield. If it's a land card, put that card on the battlefield. If it's a non-creature land card, you gain 2 life. We'll almost always be gaining 2 life, but that's a good card to have. Duplicant. When Duplicant enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-token creature. As long as a card exiled Duplicant is a creature card, Duplicant has the power and toughness and creature types of the last creature exiled with Duplicant. It's still a shapeshifter. This is pretty good, but the issue is, it's not great. Dreamstone Hedron, it's a 6-drop for a 3-mana ramp. That's pretty good, especially with the 3-card draw. Demon's Horn, whenever a player casts a black spell, meh. Creature gets +2/+0. Whenever it becomes blocked, target defending player loses 1 life. For 2, that's meh. Lens of Clarity, just look at the top card. Cool, not really. Spells you cost, cast 1 less to play for each card with the same name in your graveyard. This is a fun one, but we're commanders, so we don't have this problem. Liquid metal coating, target permanent becomes an artifact in addition to its other types. This is great for when we don't have our Mycosynth Lattice out on the field. We can tap this, turn a land into an artifact, and then nuke the artifact land with our commander. Leonin Blade Trap. Leonin Blade Trap deals 2 damage to each attacking creature without flying, but that's a sacrifice ability. Meh. Draw 3 cards. This ability costs 1 more to activate for each card in your hand. We're going to include that. It's probably coming out later, but meh. Fox it on Warhammer. Gives the equipped creature +3/+0 and trample and a lifelink. It's pretty good. Luxor River Shrine. Now here's a fun one. Is it worth it to pay? Oh, hold on. Sorry about this. Give me just a second. Okay, I guess that was nothing. I'm also going to turn up the music just a little bit. Alright. So is it worth it to pay 3 mana to have the ability to gain 2 life every turn? Hell yeah! Lightning Greaves always included. Fountain Renewal basically always included. Fleetwheel Cruiser. Trample Haste, it's a 5/3, but it would be a 4/4 usually. When Fleetwheel Cruiser enters the battlefield, it becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. Okay, that's pretty good. Bell Flagship deals combat damage to a player. That player discards a card. Pirates you control. Meh. Fabrication Module. There's part 2. So, whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you get 1 energy counter. Whenever you get 1 or more energy counters, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Okay, there's the 2 things. These are stupid already. Filigree Crawler dies, create a 1/1 colorless top-tier creature token. Flying, it's overpriced, but we have enough recursion, but it doesn't really matter. Choose and discard a card. Flowstone Sculpture gains flying. Flying, first strike, or trample permanently, or put a 1/1 counter on Flowstone Sculpture. We have enough recursion, we can get away with that. Field Creeper, it's 2/1 for 2. Blech. Foundry Assembler, it's a 3/3 for 5, but you can tap artifacts to help make it cost less. So it can basically be free if you do it. Belwar Stone, it's a 2-mana rock. Meh. Forebear's Blade, yeah, it's pretty good once you get it equipped on something. Filigree Familiar, that's pretty good. It's basically just a draw card. Artifact spells you cost 1 less. Okay, here's a really fun thing. Helm of the Host plus this guy basically means the entire deck becomes free. Yes. I just said that. If you manage to get Helm of the Host on Foundry Inspector, you can cast anything for free. Or at least damn close. Now, I was hoping to find the other module, so I'm gonna rush ahead here and find that animation module. Okay, so here's the fun thing. As long as you have mana up, you can, whenever 1 or more 1/1 counters, actually, you know what? Let's start with this one, because this one can start it. Whenever you get 1 or more energy counters, put a 1/1 counter on a target creature you control. Okay, you get the 1/1 counter. Whenever a 1/1 counter is placed on the permanent you control, you may pay 1. If you do, create a 1/1 colorless circle creature, artifact creature token. Okay, now you have a creature that comes into play and you get a 1/1. And then you come back up here, and because a creature enters the battlefield, you get an energy counter. These 3 cards create a machine gun effect. These 3 cards are going in the deck no matter what. You know what's really fun? There's actually a card that allows us to reduce the cost of things. Oh, but that's only creatures. Activated abilities of creatures cost 1 less to activate. This effect can't reduce the amount of mana an ability cost to activate to less than mana. However, if we look at... There's another one that actually allows it to go below 0. Nope, I am wrong. Never mind. Okay, so these 3 are going in the deck no matter what. Now, I have people coming over at 3, so I'm going to take a minute and just basically turn this humbug of what can only be considered a mesh together into a deck. Okay, so that include, period. That's included, that's included, that's included. That's included. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay. Now, we have 59 slots to work. Okay, so technically I could just throw all of these together and call it a deck, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take a little bit of time to actually curate this just a bit. Because I do actually want to pose some sort of challenge to everyone instead of just being that guy with a thrown together deck. See what I mean about this electrostatic pummeler being able to actually be used? Yeah. This is the part where I kind of go quiet because I'm trying to get this finished. Technically, I will be going through everything again and making sure that I have everything in place. But for now, I think I'm just going to call it good. And work on this another time. But for now, I could have sworn that I pulled Mycocenthalatus already. There is one card that I really do need, and if I have to, I'll grab it out of the pile. But at this point, I'm kind of like in a bit of a rush. I was expecting to have just a touch more time, but I lost track of time today. So that's where we're at. So these are the cards that need be, we can cut. But I would actually like to go through this fine-tooth comb and do this properly. So, where is the other sword? There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold on. I'm doing this completely wrong. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so technically we have 50 some odd slots to work with. So it's one of those weird things. And honestly, this is going to be a garbage deck to start because there are things in here that I have not gotten to. I would really like to use. Okay, well, I messed up with the assault suits. I literally only want Mycosynth Lattice, but I'm seeing other cards I kind of really want. And so I'm grabbing them really quick. There it is. Mycosynth Lattice. Okay. There is another one that I really kind of need, and it's an elixir. I don't need it, but I really want it. Now, if I hadn't been trying to explain literally every single part of my decision process while building this deck, this wouldn't be a problem, and I don't know where it is. It might already be in here. But, yeah. Okay. Technically, I could use less lands. Sorry, what? Okay, so I only have 37 lands. What? Which means I have more slots than I thought I was working with. So 37. Oh, wait, hold on. No, that's incorrect. I have 63 slots instead of the 59 that I thought I was working with. Alright, let's put behind my back. Alright, so at this point we need to pick out a couple cards that aren't going to be great. Bottle Gnomes for one, though really good, we'll see about that later. For now, we're just going to work on getting this third pile down to a reasonable. Like, it's weird because I am doing a lot of this in my head, and a lot of it won't make any sense because I'm doing it in my head. Now, the general idea is I'm trying to increase the overall strength of the deck without sacrificing too much of the fun factor, because I'm a big proponent of being able to have fun in this game, and part of the fun is being able to do stuff. So I need to cut, what, 4 more cards? 4 more cards. And so I actively avoid lockdown decks, just because they're not fun. I also avoid doing too much into the destruction, but I'm kind of also building this deck for land destruction, so I can't really get away with saying that too much. So yeah, 3 more. Now, mind you, this is just a preliminary, whatever the fuck I'm trying to say. And I'm fairly certain that I have multiple lightning greaves out. I thought I had gone through and pulled all of my individual cards, but I might have messed that up just a little bit. So I only need to pull 2 more cards. I only need to pull 3 more cards. I forgot about my commander. Loxodons. Hold on. Let me do a quick recount. So I have 38 lands, or 38 cards, including lands, that are going to stay. So I have 62 slots. Okay, so I do actually need to pull 2 more cards. Oh, baga. Oh, baga. I mean, I could pull a couple of lands, but I don't want to gimp my land base for this first test run, because there's technically only 36 lands in there, due to one of them being a straight utility land, a lot of the other ones being roughly the same. So Filigree Familiar does the same thing as Fountain of Renewal, except it draws me a card. And actually, no, it costs about the same. Portal, Prototype Portal, Scrubbling Claw. Okay, there we go. Now we have a deck. And when everyone leaves, I will let everyone know how the deck did. It will be more than a couple hours before it's done, before we're done having fun and playing games and doing all of this other stuff. So come back then if you're not already following my channel and you would like to be notified of when I go live. Be sure to hit that follow button, I think like right above my channel, or join the Discord server down below. If the link is busted, let me know. I haven't had any issues with it before, so I'm hoping that there won't be any issues. You'll always be notified of when I go live on the Discord server. Well, it should, anyways. It'll also display under the announcements tab when I am live. So, yeah. Everyone stay cool, stay positive, and don't flip the table.